Welcome to the second video for the version 15.11 update to WinBidPro by GDS Estimating. In this video, we're going to talk about the grids and some of the new features in the grids, like for example, the vendor grid, or vendor window or vendor list. So we're going to talk about that in this video, and then in the third video, we'll talk about the changes we've made to the finishes and how the finish colors and finish codes and things like that work. So getting used to the new features of these tools though for this grid is kind of helpful. So let's see. It's the same for all the new windows we've done. So it's the vendor window, the other hardware, the parts list, and also the edit job parts. So since vendors is pretty simple, the main thing you might use in this one is the full text search box. And I can look for something like tube light, or if I change my mind and I want to look for true light, I can type that and it's real quick and real easy, and it finds any text in this grid and it looks for it. So to clear that, I can hit the X here. Let's go to the final parts, or I'm sorry, let's go to the parts list so that we can look at more of like column features. So this is going to look a lot different than the older grid that we used to have. And it also has the full text search, just like the vendor's window. And it also has this blue bar. So this blue bar is something that the optimizers had for a while. And what this does is it lets you drag a column and drop it into here, and it basically creates a grouping based on the different values in that column. So it's pretty cool. So that way I can, look at all the doors if I want. Oops. And I can look at only extrusions if I want. So instead of filtering by those things, I can actually group them and then click on those different categories and expand them. So it's pretty neat. And I can actually just click on this to close it. And it gets rid of that grouping and gets you back to the complete list. So that's been in the optimizer for a long time, but actually it was, and then it went away, and then it came back. But now it's in all these new windows. So vendors, like I said, parts list, job parts, things like that, other hardware. So for any text searching, you're definitely going to want to just go to the full text search field, I think. That's the fastest thing. Like if I want to look for vinyl, it's super quick and easy to do that. So if I want to do multiple things though, if I want to do vinyl that is 250 feet, then I can filter, and I have to close this to get it out of the way. But basically I'm doing multiple things. I'm doing the vinyl original search, and then I'm doing all the package quantities that are 250. So that's helpful. I can hit clear filter, and that's going to get me the entire list back, and we have our count up here, 1,629 parts. And then you'll notice that it didn't remove this string from this full search little box, so I have to click the X to get rid of that. But it did clear the filter in terms of what I was searching for. So let's get back to, so for full text searches, this is probably the easiest thing. You can still go through, and this kind of is helpful. So this is totally different, where it shows every unique instance of a string in this column. And in this case, it's part type. So this is basically what showed up when I grouped the parts. So I could always click vinyl here, and then it automatically sorts or filters to that list. The other thing I can do is I can say it's equal to, not equal to, ends with, contains, all these different choices, and type in a value right here, and that's another way of filtering. And then I have to click filter, and it shows me the filter behind. So you have all those kind of flexible kind of search capabilities or filter capabilities in these little tools in this window. So that is something that you're going to want to get to know, because it's going to be helpful, especially in this window where you want to change multipliers, let's say, for different parts. And you know, if it were a multiplier for 3684 doors or door frames, but you only want it to be doors, then I would go over here and I would click contains door. And I guess this is why you have to click filter, because it keeps the value that you last typed. But let's say, oh, if I only want it to be door. Oh, yeah, I guess either way, it's begin with door frame. So yeah, if I wanted to be door frame and hit filter, now it's only going to show me door frames that are 3684. Now I can actually go up and hit change group parts. I can say I want to change the multiplier, so I check this out, this little box here, and then I can change the multiplier to, you know, 0.55 or something. So that's how that would work. And so there, it updated my list, and I've got 676 of those actually. So if I clear filter now, I'm back to my whole list of 1,629 parts. But so that's very helpful in this case for changing multipliers, or if you're updating stock lengths or something like that. All these different tools make it much easier to do that type of thing. So the same thing goes for edit job parts. So that is another window that's got this new grid. It looks obviously very similar to the other one. So the difference here is, if you haven't used this before, these are the parts in your job that you're working on. So the current selected job. So same exact thing where I can change a group of parts. But there is an added tool that says sync parts. So let's say you've added, not added, but adjusted some things in this window just for this job. Like you change your stock lengths to 220 or 300 or something, just so that you can get different optimization. Or you've changed your package quantities and you want those changes to go back to the master catalog. You know, you're fixing them here, but you're like, I don't want to have to refix them in the master catalog. So we actually have a little tool that says, I want to sync whatever changes I made here from here to the master catalog. And then same thing goes if you made some changes in your master catalog and this job hasn't received those changes, you can update the job parts from the master. So that's kind of a new feature in the 15.11. You can update by syncing like that. But otherwise, it's the same as the actual parts list. You know, all the same tools, the single search box, the different filtering capabilities, the grouping, and yeah, it's pretty helpful, and I think you guys are going to like it. So that's that one. And even other hardware is going to be the same exact looking thing, where there's different finishes, and you're able to change a group of parts and everything. So we try to keep it very consistent between all those different things. So the last thing I want to show you, oh, by the way, so after installing this update, I might have said this in the first video, but I'm going to say it in the second one. After installing this update, you're going to see this window when you open a catalog for the first time. So the program needs to make some changes to the catalog, and those changes are basically those finish values and pricing. So the reason there's no zeros here is because the catalog's been updated. The reason it's not showing you columns that have no finish in them is because the catalog's been updated. So all those things were done when that catalog was updated. So that only happens once, but it does happen the first time you open a catalog for this new update. So that's it for the tools. That should give you a good idea, and you guys can play with it more. But the next video, I'm going to go into more specifics about the finish column stuff and the way the finishes work now. All right, thanks.